So this is going to be a quick talking points video where I'm just going to explain some tips I have for you when taking lead falls. So one of the first things you want to do is you want to assess the risk for the situation. So if a fall doesn't feel safe, don't take it. That's one of the most important things as you're sort of learning to lead climb and learning how to take falls, is you need to be able to trust your judgment. And if it doesn't feel safe, don't take the fall. So how do you assess kind of the risk? Well, one thing you can do is just before you fall, quickly look down and try to anticipate how far am I going to fall based on how far am I past my last piece of protection, how much slack is in the rope, are there any obstacles in the way, and just try to anticipate where you're going to land, okay? And when you've assessed that it's safe to do so, I want you to focus on letting go and falling as opposed to pushing away from the wall. So the exception here is if there's like an obstacle that you're trying to avoid, you can absolutely push away from the wall so that you don't smack your feet on it or smack your head on it. Whatever the obstacle is, that's fine. But when you push away from the wall, you're ultimately going to create that pendulum, right? So we talked in a previous video about the pendulum effect. And if you let go and fall, even though it's kind of scary, like your instinct is to push away from the wall, you're going to have less of that swinging effect, and it can actually be safer to just go ahead and fall and let go rather than push away. But again, if there's an obstacle that you're trying to avoid, feel free to push away just enough to kind of avoid that obstacle. So when you're ready to fall, I definitely recommend at first you just let your partner know that you're falling. And even if you're doing practice or if you're on a real route and you know that you're about to fall, just say falling to them. They're going to get ready. You're going to take a deep breath in through your nose. And then as you let go, or if you need to do a gentle push, you're just going to and breathe out, okay? So it's just going to be falling, deep breath in through the nose. And then as you let go, let it out through your mouth. And that's going to relax your body, and that's going to keep you a little bit less tense as you sort of make impact with the wall, or if you're lucky, you'll fall into free space. So you're on something really overhung. But I definitely recommend just staying super relaxed and calm when you let go. It's going to help you avoid injuries if you do hit the wall, or even if you, unfortunately, if you hit the ground, that would really suck. But staying relaxed is the best way to keep yourself safe in that situation rather than kind of tensing up and, risking breaking something or doing some damage. So definitely take a second to sort of breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth as you let go, relax your whole body. So kind of keeping the body in mind, one thing I also recommend is when you fall and you kind of know or you're anticipating where you're going to fall to, I want you to kind of focus on keeping your feet up in front of you. And so just like kind of when you're lowering and you have your feet, like imagine my body is here and my feet are sort of to the left and right here, spread, maybe shoulder width apart. I just want you to keep your feet up and wide. And the reason for this is because you don't want to fall and like bang your knee or scrape up your knee or scrape your shins or scrape your torso. You want your feet to kind of protect you from the wall, right? Because you've got shoes on and the shoes are much tougher than your skin or your pants or shirt, let's say. So we just want to protect our bodies, keep our feet up and wide when we fall. So another thing I want to just briefly talk about is the temptation to grab the rope. So a lot of people, especially like if they're coming from top rope or auto belay, they have this tendency to kind of hold on to the rope in front of them when they're falling. And so while this does make us feel secure, right, there's kind of an illusion of security here because one of the first things it does is it takes up your hands. So if you're grabbing the rope, you don't have your hands to kind of help you brace for impact if for some reason you do need to put your hands to the wall, for example, to like protect your head from smacking into the wall or something like that. But the other thing that can happen is depending on where you grab the rope, if there's slack below your hands and then you take the fall, the rope can actually start to pull through your hands and cause really bad rope burn. So just kind of for the sake of your hands, the rest of your body, using your hands to protect the rest of your body, I definitely recommend as you practice falling, just try to avoid the temptation to grab the rope. Really, I want you to get to the point where you can take falls confidently and your instinct is not, is not to grab the rope. This kind of brings me to sort of a separate point, but a really important point, which is I just want you to practice. I want you to practice taking falls and practice having, a belayer you trust catch those falls. Ideally, you'd want to start a little bit higher off the ground, just so that if you do misjudge the distance of the fall, you don't put yourself at risk of decking or colliding with your belayer. I definitely see a lot of people in the gym doing falls from like the third or fourth clip, let's say like 15, 20 feet off the deck. I definitely recommend going higher, even though it's going to be scarier to fall when you're higher up the wall. If your belayer is doing a good job, it's just going to be safer to start out. Definitely recommend starting, higher until you're more comfortable. If you really want to push it with your partner, you can start practicing lower falls. Your gym might even have rules about what they accept as appropriate for, taking a lead fall. Like some gyms don't like you to take a lead fall at the first bolt or the second bolt, all this kind of stuff. So just practice, get in touch with your belayer and kind of use this opportunity also to give them feedback. So if your belayer is catching you and you feel like the catch is too hard, which we'll kind of talk about hard, soft catches in a future video, or if you feel like your belayer wants something from you, kind of have that conversation with your belayer. I recommend giving them feedback if something doesn't feel right. Maybe you're falling too far, maybe there's too much slack in the system, but then also be receptive to feedback, from your belayer. If your belayer notices you're doing something, definitely take this time to just have that conversation, talk with your belayer, see what both of y'all can do better. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed these tips, and good luck falling out there.